Hi there. It's the end of January 2021. I have a cat, just to prove it, and I am going to try vlogging again. If you don't know me, I'm Katy-Rose. I'm a creative writer and educator in the wellbeing industry, and I also write fantasy fiction under the pen name KR Green. So if you're new, welcome, and if not, welcome back. And Ember is with me today. So it's the end of January 2021. We made it. And I guess I kind of just wanted to do a bit of a check-in. I'm aware that this YouTube channel has had quite a few different iterations over its time. Cat butt. I'm aware that there have been quite a few iterations over time of kind of how this channel has evolved, names included, and my plan for 2021 is to focus a lot more on my creative writing journey, a lot more on telling you where you can kind of read my stuff if it interests you, but also a lot more on how creativity and creative writing interlink with the self-development, kind of how I use my master's in neuroscience to actually help me with my writing process, how I look at kind of my identity struggles with being a writer, being an author, being a wellbeing practitioner, kind of pulling everything together, and how that impacts the characters I write, how that impacts the Medium articles that I write, how that kind of, basically that holistic view between like the psychology and the science. And I pause there because technically psychology is a social science, but I'm also aware there are plenty of people who disagree with that. So yeah, that's basically what I'm looking at talking about this year. And I wanted to get back into vlogging, mostly because it's the main thing I watch. Like, I know that having a vlog is useful and helpful and I'd love to do it. I just kind of had lots of projects over the last couple of years, and you know, there was that whole pandemic thing. So it's the end of January. I actually started a new day job this month, which I'm not going to be talking about particularly, but it's all going well. I'm very happy. It was definitely the right move for me, and has definitely kind of helped me to then realise which of my habits have been helping me and which haven't, in terms of certainly through like lockdowns and kind of the pandemic issues, sort of anxieties do kind of crop up. And I think changing to a different role has allowed me to really see what was part of the job, what was me, what was the household and like the environment that I was in because of lockdowns. And I've just really come out the other side of that just kind of happy and wanting to kind of talk a little bit about what I've learned and where that comes from and how that shapes things. So it's only really been the last 3 weeks or so. I think the first week of January I didn't do a great deal, but in the second week of January I kind of pulled out the Feld Gods, which is a standalone new adult fantasy kind of, I guess sword and sorcery is probably the closest you'd get, although there are no swords, so maybe not, but there's a lot of sorcery. And this is a book that has been drafted twice. I've had 2 drafts, then it went to be a beta reader. I went to multiple beta readers, but yeah, went through beta reading, and then it's come back and I've changed quite a bit of it, so it needs to go out for beta reading again. That was partly me learning about my process, me learning about the beta reading process, and kind of what my writing process has become. I began writing in 2009, so it's definitely changed over the years, and I'm definitely finding what works for me now is very different from what used to work. The cat has settled on the coffee table, but she is making noise behind me. The other thing that I started in the last week, I think this is day 5 of me writing it, is a nonfiction project, which the most detailed I'm going to go into at the moment is that it is a kind of self-help book, but for people who don't just want self-helpy stuff, but want to know like the neuroscience background between how our brains work and how that can be useful in our day-to-day life. And also have that bit about intuition and listening to your own like instincts and reconnecting with who we are as human beings. And I'm trying to merge all of that together, even with some cognitive therapy techniques in there as well, because I think that, personally, I think we should all be taught cognitive behavioural therapy when we're like 4 or 5 in school. And it would make our lives a lot better if we had those tools sort of how to use our brains and our minds going through life. So that's kind of the very basic premise. But I'm, 3,000 words in. So it's a 4-day-old project, 5-day-old project. But I did also come up with the idea for it in 2011 when I was doing my master's in neuroscience. So it's been simmering and like bubbling at the back for a while. And this week I decided it's time to come out. So yeah. And again, that's going to have quite a lot about creativity and the natural, innate creative nature of us as human beings, but then branching off into artists and dancers and writers and just kind of melding everything together. But yeah, it is very much an very early draft thing at the moment. So, and if you're not aware, I also have a podcast that I started in September. The first episode was published. So we're around episode 25, 26 at the moment. I think we're around episode 25 at the point this will be coming out. And I have started uploading those to YouTube now. So there is at least a partial back catalogue of those podcast episodes. My podcast is specifically designed for people who continually reinvent who they are. So whether that's like self-growth, self-development, leveling up, or actually they're having like identity crises and they're like struggling, or they've just come out of a mental health problem and now they're kind of stable and want to kind of create new foundations, but without burning their whole life down. If you don't want to burn out trying to reinvent your life, that's basically what it is. And they're 10 to 15 minutes. I think the average is 12 minutes once a week. Yeah. And this is the bit where I'm like, oh, vlogs are so polished. Mine won't be. So I'd love to know what you got up to in January, and do you have any plans for February? Again, I think 2020 has taught us a lot about making plans and having expectations and what that might look like. But my plan for February so far is to continue working on both writing projects. So the nonfiction project and my fiction standalone young adult novel, which at the moment I am like compiling scenes and looking for gaps and then putting all the beta feedback like alongside that in order to go through it and just like fix the holes. And then I will put it in a drawer for a little bit and give it a rest. Probably amp up the focus on another story or on the non-fiction project. But yeah, no specific timescales at the moment, but I think that's kind of where I'm at. Again, if you haven't seen my videos for a while or don't know me, I have 2 cats. Smoke is currently asleep in the other room, and Ember, I think you may have briefly met in at least one of the videos that comes out this week. And I just wanted to have a bit of a sit-down chat and talk through the month and get back into creativity, so get back into video editing and things like that, and share the podcast and talk a bit more about writing. I've been watching a lot of authortubers, a lot of writers, and just kind of wanting to get back in there after probably about 2 years that I've sort of dropped out of being that involved in writing communities. After joining them in 2009, I hit a 8-9 year lull point, and now I'm refreshed, rejuvenated, and ready to get back to it, because at the heart of it, I've always been a writer, and that's something I want to share. If you have any questions, do pop them in the comments below, and I will see you in my next video. If you can't wait that long, the new podcast will be out on Tuesday at 11 o'clock UTC, GMT, 11 o'clock British time. Thanks for watching. As I say, if you do like the video, please give it a like. And I will speak to you again in another vlog. Bye.